Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League presented by Subway. I'm Mizel. I'm joined by Joshi, and of course, our last best of three that we had to wait for has to go the distance. I am so happy to see these two teams going neck to neck and putting everything on the line here in what will be the finality of one of these teams' seasons.
Exactly. The winner of this will go on to play disguised for an opportunity to play in the live finals, and the loser will be done for the spring split. But the fact that both these teams are still playing, and the fact that we are seeing, again, so much parity across all these playoffs means that Cincinnati Fear might be ready for one of the biggest upsets in NACL history.
It's actually insane. Everybody talks about taking Fear out of the Fearless playoffs, but they're able to put that fear right into the hearts of Maryville. We're going to be getting a draft now. This is game 3, our final best of 3, and we see 10 champions not available for either side. We also have a switch up of sides for the first time in the series. Maryville on the blue side, Fear on the red.
And one of the big things that we've been talking about, again, has been Toasty's champion pool throughout the course of this series. We saw a fantastic performance from him coming out of the Orianna. But with the Nico gone, the Orianna gone, the major champion that we have been seeing him play otherwise has been the Taliyah. And Maryville, I mean, we got to see that they decided to just play the Taliyah into the Orianna. That didn't necessarily work, but they can absolutely play the other side of that coin if they want to.
That's the biggest question, is what side of the coin are we going to get? Does Chad just all of a sudden whip out his Rengar to see what happens in game number 3? There's so many things that could happen. The Gragas, the Cassante ban likely towards Philip. Those have been constant bans so far. The Xin Zhao actually towards Yuji is a pretty clutch third game ban from Fear.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Xin Zhao was not played by Maryville previously and the Karma has not been banned this game so far does kind of pseudo-ban both of them. They are each other's best combinations across the board, but the Kindred ban also coming through. It looks as though Cincinnati Fear very worried about what it is that Yuji can still play as one of the strongest junglers in the entire league. And Cincinnati Fear going to be on the red side. There's a lot of champions you still need to be worried about that Maryville can pull out right now. The Kallista's still there. The Orianna is there as well. And we know that Scary Jerry can dig in deep into his pockets to play whatever he wants.
The not Cassante ban, that's been there all game too, or all series too, but the Kindred ban has consistently been there from Fear, as well as that Varus ban. So trying to take away that flexibility from bot lane as well towards Scary Jerry. But now we got to ask, what's that first pick going to be? The Renekton, which we have seen a lot of first picking going towards, not going to be available for Niles.
True. I love how we set it up. It's like, oh, wait, nope, that one is banned because of the way that Fearless Draft works. But now we do have I'm expecting an Orianna or Callista, and it was the Callista to come through. Scary Jerry says, we're going to be playing this game aggressive. We're going to be looking for these big opportunities in the bottom side. And Cincinnati Fear need to set themselves up to not fall over. And the Zyra combo, the Lovers do in the bottom lane, has been a classic Ansha.
And they locked it in order, which, might just increase the power level by 10 times. It is really clutch, though, because I think Lens, looking at Scary Jerry locking his champion against him, something that Lens is very has a lot of prowess on. But also the Xayah has been a consistent power strength from Lens in his history, too. I love the Ashe, the Rumble lock-in. Very strong combos right now for Maryville. They're definitely going to need a little bit of front line to go with that, though.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of different ways to try and answer the Rumble, but this one feels as though it is almost, I don't want to say giving up, but definitely giving over too much to the side of Maryville, because Sion really, really struggles to create opportunities to win the top half of the map. You can neutralize the top half of the map as one of your major selling points, but if you start falling behind, you very rapidly run out of tools. And with the ability for Callista and Ashe to actually shred the Sion later on in the game, it creates a very tough position for Philip if Niles has the attention from Yuji that he typically does.
It is a bold one from Philip, for sure. I'm curious at what the strategy is early on with that as well. Obviously, we've seen in the past you can kind of be a little annoying as the Sion. We do get the Ahri and the Rel bans, though.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, right? You still need to pinch out what it is that you want Toasty to play. The Orianna, again, gone. The Nico, gone as well. It does feel as though Maryville has an opportunity to try and put him on a single champion as the Orianna ban comes through from Cincinnati Fear. We know that Spyrex has a lot of different things that he can play. He is very willing to kind of play whatever it is that his team needs him to play, and we saw how aggressively he was able to play the Ahri as well. But I'm really looking at what it is that Chad wants to play in this game. You were talking about the Rengar, and I gotta say, as somebody who has done a lot of drafting, not at this level, if you start looking at it and a player says, "Coach, give me this champion, I will carry the game," you give it to them. You just say, "Yeah, that's the confidence we need for this game 3."
Just don't go check the percentages or anything like that.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that. Don't need any background info. I did like the Orianna ban though, trying to take that one away from Spyrax, not giving the combo that just worked so well for them away to the enemy team. The Wukong though, locked in. Something else we've been seeing rise up.
Yeah, I mean, this champion is gotten better. It did get some small armor buffs over the past couple of patches, so it is a bit stronger there. And the Jace coming through for Spyrex as well. One of the best champions we've seen him play for a long time. And when you already have the Rumble on the top side, you do not need to worry about not having enough magic damage for your squad. And now, Maryville, they just need to showcase what it is that they want you to play. And it's Blue 5.
Okay.
Maokai. I'm a little disappointed, not gonna lie, but it is still a champion that is very strong. The Jace Maokai is a fantastic combination to get a ton of poke down whenever you need it.
Yeah. With the Ashe too though. This is the combo that literally was perma-picked all of last year. It felt like the amount of map control, vision you can have because of these two comboing together, and also the range you can play at with that Jace and the Rumble. The composition's looking a little like Exodia for Maryville University, so I want to take a look back at some of the stylized differences of Fear. They did end up locking that Talia.
They did, and it does give them an opportunity to try and split up these fights, but it's rather difficult for Talia to use that effectively in this because of the range at which Maryville can play. If you put it between the front line and the back line, Maryville's like, oh yeah, great, thanks. You are saving Scary Jerry and Zyko from any aggression from Chad. However, one of the things that this character does bring is it stops a lot of aggression coming out from Scary Jerry and from Spyrex as well. You throw down the rocks on the ground, and suddenly their mobility is cut significantly, and so Maryville has to be very willing to play these games or these fights a little bit slower than they have so far this series.
Well, we're going to be getting into it now, and again, the stakes speak for themselves. This is our last best of 3. We are headed into best of 5s. The road all the way down to the Riot Games arena on the line. The lower bracket is a place where champions are needed to be molded. And here we go. The final game between Maryville University and Fear. Give it up for these two teams. They put everything on the line. They've showed every single piece of grit that you could possibly have. And it all comes down to the next 30 plus minutes. I believe it's going to be like a late game giga banger, like longest game of the series, of season.
Oh. Cincinnati Fear going to be pushing in. They do get the ward. This is a trap being set up by Maryville, but it doesn't look like it's going to pay any dividends. Now, one of the things that's important to note is because of how strong Maokai support in solo queue has been for a while, Maokai jungle has slowly been losing bits of movement speed, bits of damage across the board. Yuji is going to really struggle to actually duel up against Chad for most of this early game, whereas the side of Maryville is really going to rely on him as his portive tool. And that says to me here, Mazel, that we are not worried about how Yuji can take over this game. Instead, we're going to be focusing on how Yuji can enable his laners, which is something that has been mostly towards the bottom lane, but sometimes you'll see Yuji spend a lot of time up top side as well.
And that's what we talked about in game number 1, is that two-pronged method of Maryville. They can play around Yuji. They can give him those aggressive picks to run across the game, but they also will go with more facilitative picks to try to play around Scary Jerry. And this is kind of the adaptation in just a best of 3 that can even be more powerful in a best of 5 because you're able to show different shades of yourself.
And we have to see exactly how these two junglers will be pathing, both of them starting on the actually, Chad starting on his Raptors and comes down towards the bottom side. This looks like another potential opportunity for Chad to be aggressive, but Yuji on the bottom side, very likely to switch his route up and move towards the top. And one of the things that Maryville does really well is Yuji's willingness to walk through the mid lane on his way towards the top half of the map whenever he's crossing in order to set up a lot of pressure on the opposing mid laner.
I think there's a serious reason why we've seen Kalista banned away from Scary Jerry in every game. Curious to see some of the adaptations letting it through here in a pivotal game for yourself, because we have seen Scary Jerry and Zyko do so well in the 2v2. That's something they talked about consistently this year, especially Zyko, not feeling the need to ask questions anymore, and he just makes decisions, and it feels a lot more fluid for Maryville, and we've seen that.
Yeah, it's come out a lot. And Yuji also coming down towards the bottom side, throwing down a couple of saplings so they know if Chad is around. And this is just creating a ton of space. Yuji's not going to benefit from this a whole lot, but his bottom lane is getting so much space, knowing they're stronger in the 2v2, and the opposing jungler cannot interfere. This is great stuff for Maryville, and a huge indexing towards these rising stars on the bottom side.
It's literally 3 minutes in, and we're already seeing the utilization of the vision control that Ashe and Maokai brings. Literally, Chad cannot do anything while he has to sit here and watch his bot lane go down 15 CS.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this. Yuji is spending more time. Neither side of the jungle has had an opportunity to go towards the top side. The first Scuttle Crab is finally going down from Yuji because, you know, nobody is worried about the rest of the map. You don't need to go farm there, and Yuji is finally going to be spending some time to look at the mid lane.
Toasty getting flashed on, and he has the seismic shove back, but it goes the other way with the Bramble Smash. Now Chad is here. He does have a decent amount of damage. I don't know if he can follow it up now that cooldowns are gone, but he does respond in kind to Yuji's aggression.
Yeah, I also really like the fact that Spyrex holding onto his Q. He never actually threw it out because he knows that Toasty will just flash and they will not have the damage once Chad shows himself. Nah, he's alright. But at the same time, Yuji is not safe to go towards his top side of the map at this point, right? He's lost too much HP. He doesn't have his flash. If Chad is there, Yuji will die, and so they need to look for an opportunity where he can farm things safely.
It's at least the goal in mind. Now we have the Telegrubbies episode 1 plus the Dragon coming up, and we saw last game, Fear went for that early. They put a lot of focus on that. It ended up paying dividends for them.
Yeah. And we'll see how the neutral objective control does go in this one, right? Because you have so much priority on the bottom side for Maryville. You can be very aggressive when playing for the Dragon, but it's harder to do it in the top side. But one of the things that we do have to point out is every single lane so far from Maryville has a small advantage. Spyrex actually having some of his best laning on one of his best champions in this crucial Game 3. And as we already talked about, if Scary Jerry and Zyko were not ahead at this point between these champions that they're playing and also the attention that they've gotten from Yuji, we would have to have, you know, a bit of a talking to this bottom lane, but they're living up towards the expectations we have leveraged towards them.
We definitely set them up for success in the last little bit. Philip gonna go set himself up for success with the proxy farm. Do not see any full objective focus just yet. Some vision game being played by Fear towards the red side jungle of Yuji, but now Philip, he's in a lot of trouble. He does have flash. If he needs to get over the wall, looks like he's just going to be willing to burn that.
Yeah, I mean, not able to get the entire way before it comes through does mean a potential freeze is available. Even more vision control. They see, Chad's not in the top half of the map. Where could he possibly be? You still have one of those little ghouls running around the wolves. So he's like, that's not up. Chad must be coming out of base, and then he'll probably come bot lane because the wolves are spawning very soon. Maryville with total information on the map of what it is that Chad is doing, and Scary Jerry and Zyko benefiting from that hugely. What does Yuji want to do with that? It looks like he's going to be starting up the Dragon.
So we won't have the split of objectives just yet, but Maryville utilizing their priority in bot side, which is now about a 20 CS lead, will be cut down a little bit now that Lens is getting the wave crashed into him, but they might actually pull away from the bot side and come contest this one.
It's going to be tough. There is a front to back setting up, and Spyrex will do a lot of damage.
He doesn't have flash anymore in the picture-in-picture. He doesn't have flash. He's going to go, and that is the Dragon secured by Chad, too, in the end. Oh, my goodness.
Really good stuff from Chad, able to smite that one away. We saw how crucial that was for Shaden in their wins earlier today, but Niles going to be forcing Philip out of this lane. Remember how we were saying that the best case scenario for this is if Philip goes even? That is not happening right now. Even though Maryville do lose out on that Dragon, they're still taking the right steps for success. They just missed the one where they actually get the button pressed at the right time, but Maryville can also now set up for the top lane objective as well.
And that's so good of Chad, right? Just to sneak in there, grab that really quickly, and kind of derail, I guess, upend the plans of Maryville, though they will stick right with it. They'll go for these 3 grubbies.
Yeah. And it should be very tough, right? Even without the equalizer from Niles, Rumble is very strong at this point of the game. Philip is struggling to farm, and Yuji should be able to get everything that they need. Spyrax is holding pressure in the mid lane, and I don't know if Chad is currently on Vision, but he's definitely going to show on Vision in just a moment. They have full information yet again in this bottom lane. The one thing I could potentially ask for from the side of Scary Jerry and Zyko is if they actually find a kill.
Hey, we're trying to find
We're trying.
There's an attempt, you know. Chad is going to go for the aggressive invade here, though. Spyrax stuck around. Yuji knows that they're doing this. Don't know if he can actually contest it, though.
I don't know if he knows that they're doing it.
He had the scanner. Okay, well, a little bit of fun. And Chad has slowly and surely picked off little pieces of Yuji's jungle.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying that Yuji losing the flash relatively early, not able to find a whole lot of early plays, but now, Scary Jerry, he's level 6, they both do.
Ooh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow there, Fate's Call, double knockup. Look at this combo! They have womboed their way into a potential kill, double kill there, as it will just be the one going over. First blood to Maryville. Couple summoner spells burned, but a great play.
And I love the fact that they go for Daption, not Lens, right? He doesn't have access to the Featherstorm. He doesn't have access to the invulnerability like Lens does. You make sure you go for the target that you can get, because gold is gold. It doesn't matter if you kill the support. It doesn't matter if you kill the top laner. You're going to get the same amount of gold for that one, and that is a massive 2v2. We were asking for a kill from these guys. They're able to find it as soon as they hit level 6 at the same time. They go on Daption immediately, and we get to see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the ECA comes out right away, and they layer it with so much more crowd control.
I love the use of the abilities there. A little hop into the bush as well to get the vision change. But unfortunately for Fear, they just were caught wanting a little bit. The timing of the level up's really big for Maryville, and that's because they've had a lot of control in that lane.
Yeah. And they also are paying attention, right? They both look at the amount of EXP they have. They say, yeah, we're hitting at the same time. Go, go, go. For whatever reason, Daption is a little bit behind in EXP, and that's such a bad spot. The Spyrax goes in. No abilities.
Yeah, he gets the knockback there, too. There's some good combos. Toasty going to throw the rocks the wrong way, but makes it out with his life.
Yeah, but that's still a lot of damage coming through, and we have been seeing that the junglers have been willing to spend time in and around the mid lane. But Spyrax is able to really punish the fact that Toasty trying to use his abilities to farm the wave, and now Chad trying to punish him for it.
Actually, nice little zoom in there. Oh, he can't get the combo! He gets the kill. He'll be immediately turned back around and turned into mincemeat, but that was some flashy plays from Spyrax.
Oh my gosh. Philip just standing and delivering right there, taking a lot of damage, and now Yuji trying to protect his bottom side of the map. Niles throws out the equalizer as well, but the arrow goes wide.
They do have the nature graph. You know, you miss one thing, you can just throw everything else, and they find another one. The thing we said coming into this series is if Fear are going to have a chance, Lens has to step up, and we have not been able to see him turn it full throttle yet.
Absolutely not. The laning phase has been all about Scary Jerry and Zyko. We get to see Spyrax going in. As soon as he jumps in, he stuns himself, so he does have to flash for the kill, and you can tell Chad is like, fine. I'll flash in order to pick this one back up, but I don't really know how to describe this one. This is just Lens not believing his opponent. This is how I find all of my solo kills too, is like I will just start hitting them, and if they don't flash, I'm like, yeah, you gotta flash here, buddy. You gotta do something. And Lens was like, nah, I don't think I do it. He was wrong.
Gonna be wanting on that one, as little moments like that will stick in your brain all off season. As again, we have to remind you, everything is on the line for this one. We've gone the distance. The stress is input, but it's about closing this one out. You have another opponent waiting for you down the line, and it all is your entire season being put into one game.
Maryville absolutely taking control of it. This is the third game in a row. It's not necessarily the exact same way they find the lead every time, but they are once again finding an early game lead. Last time they tried to go for this, Chad was able to steal it, but he's on the opposite side of the map, looking to deny some of those grubs from the side of Maryville, but Maryville will chase the members of Cincinnati Fear away, and Niles wins this.
Yeah, oh yeah, he does. Weaver's Wall coming across, though. Chad makes it over the wall. Nicely done in that regard. Toasty does have to pull the ulti. The dragon goes over, so they'll trade the 1-for-1 in dragon count. Now Niles looking for Chad. Chad doesn't have a way out of this one. He's being burned to a crisp, and Niles gets the solo bolo as Philip trying to fight back, but that's a red-hot Niles. He's getting a little bit of gumption, but Philip shuts him down.
Dang, that was a lot of damage coming through from Niles, but it is a much-needed reprieve for Philip. But Daption and Lens getting no reprieve whatsoever as Scary Jerry and Zyko and Yuji continuing to bully down this bottom side of the map. Spyrax jumps.
Oh, he does the same thing as last time. A little bit of deja vu there, except this time he's losing the fight a lot harder. He does try to dodge his way out of that one. Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming across. Toasty just lets it whiz by his face.
Yeah. I do have to admit, I'm a little bit surprised that this Jace was the answer here for Spyrax, but either way, he is getting a lot more money coming into him than Toasty has been so far. But at the same time, Cincinnati Fear, we do have to talk about the fact that they are still trying to make things happen. They just don't seem to have an answer to the bottom side of the map, right? Scary Jerry and Zyko have been able to do whatever they want because Chad can never get in to help them. Every single time he tries, there's always like, oh, that's a sapling. Up, I'm on vision. Up, they know I'm here. And now they're going to be backing away. And Maryville starting up the grubs at the same time. They are bringing up Zyko. This is a very tough contest for Cincinnati Fear again.
Wow, that feels so bad to lose all 6 grubs against this composition too, because their siege is just going to be so lethal. But Fear, the way they get into this is combining and finding Lens some more gold, finding Lens a little bit more resources there, and that has to come through Chad and Toasty being proactive, and right now they just can't.
It's so tough. This is going to be all 6 of the grubs. The Grubagaddon coming through. As the Twitch chatters, Maryville Saints fans rising up in order to help out their team find their way towards the next round. But Philip finally getting a little bit of that takiness as here comes the ult.
Ooh, Philip about to get soloed again, but he's trying to fight back. Chad is here. He might actually be able to turn this. Niles realizes what has happened, and Philip turns it around with the help of Chad.
Okay, but that's not the only fight. There's more going on. Eugene, next W.
He's trying to get the play. Bramble Smash, Shockwave, or at least the Shock Blast. He utilized there. Not able to get anything to stick onto Toasty. He does make it out alive after burning his flash. Yeah,
and we are starting to see that Cincinnati Fear top side is starting to fire back in this game as now Yuji, preying on the fact that he just saw Chad back away on that ward, he will be picking up this Rift Herald for his own team. That is going to be all of the objectives. Oh, they only got 5 of the grubs, turns out, but still, that is enough to get the Twitch chat to come through. Maryville still very happy as you were talking about how quickly they can actually go for these plays.
Ooh, Toasty having a nice little trade into Spyrax here, but Spyrax will fight right back. Yeah, I think the grubs despawned right when they were trying to finish it off and all that craziness started to happen, but the Rift Arrow will be huge because they can just knock down an outer turret, and still we have a lot of standing gold with that on the fact the first turret hasn't fallen just yet, but they also have this in perfect timing for the dragon spawning, right? You can use it as a distraction if you want to.
Yeah. We're going to see what they do end up doing with that. It is still a very strong laning lead.
Ooh, they want this. They want to go back in. Now Zyko, though, gets chunked. And he's going to have to burn that flash real early. The heal also burned. They did TP Toasty, so that's a lot of resources by Fear down bot side.
And they do end up getting the flash coming out from Zyko and a heal from Scary Jerry. This is a lot of tools you need to withstand a dive, but Spyrax is an even better tool.
Got a shock blast to the face there to Lens. Yuji's also coming. He does not have Nature's Grasp just yet, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrow blocked, but it might have just led Daption down the road here as he does give the Teemo thumbs up out of there. Fear do make it away after Maryville tried to respond.
Yeah, really good stuff, honestly, from Daption to try and respond to block out that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and at the same time, we're talking about the ability to knock down structures. Niles in the mid lane with all the little Twitch chats. The Void Myth are able to take that one down at the same time, but the top lane is also getting beaten up by Philip, but it's still more money going over in favor of Maryville across the board. Again, their lane assignments, their willingness to push around the map and poke and prod, wait to see what your answers will be, has been a huge part of Maryville's success.
And we are on first items for majority of members there, getting close to a second for Scary Jerry as well, so really big item spike for the Kalista going to be coming online here shortly. They're going to try to make a play on the Spyrax down here. They have the TP, and Yuji is here. He has Nature's Grasp. Philip has arrived to give his old friend a hello, and that Nature's Grasp will be returned in kind there. As Spyrax can't really do much against the Scion. He's real tanky, but the rest of Maryville are on their way here. They've knocked back Philip, and a bunch of paper cuts ends up bleeding him out here. He's going to have to use that unstoppable onslaught to drive his way to safety.
Yeah, very bravely charging away, but this is going to be a dragon yet again started up by Maryville. Philip with no teleport, no ultimate, cannot rejoin the fight, and it would have to be another steal from Chad if they want to play anything, but they see exactly where all the members of Cincinnati Fear are, and Niles is not letting them leave.
If you find yourself in a position like this, oh no, oh no, it's back! That's what Toasty's saying to himself right now.
Oh man, I remember, I have very distinct memories of a game where I drafted a team composition that would do that kind of thing to people, right? You would play like Varus, Jace, and I don't remember, I think it was like Ashe support, right? You would throw out the ultimate and then everybody would throw out your poke at the same time and you would just kill a squishy member. And that is exactly what Toasty is trying to do, right? You get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, suddenly he's taking an entire Equalizer. He's also taking the Shock Blast, and it only gets worse from this point on, as now we see an answer coming through from Maryville to try and stop Lens from taking the structure.
And if you find yourself in a position where they have the Ashe, the Maokai, the Jace all in front of you, all at safety's reach and able to spot you out, get poked down, like that is not a position of power for Fear. Yeah. So finding a way to not put yourself in a position like that is the most important thing at this point, and that's very difficult. And
it's also tough, too, because it's like not a way that people have been playing League of Legends for a while, right? I remember, I think people used to call it Nova. For whatever reason, I have that word in my head, right? When you could just kill somebody from really long range all at the same time. You hit a crowd control and the entire team goes, boom, that guy is dead, right? You just have such amazing tools, and Maryville are taking so much control. They have a lot of vision up on the top side, and yes, they will eventually lose this bottom side structure, but Maryville get there first, which means that they can rotate to the next point in the map faster than Cincinnati Fear can.
We've seen Maryville in a position like this time and time again. A lead in the early game. That is their bread and butter. But we've seen them falter in the mid to late game. We've seen Fear show absolute resilience in these games. And that's why we find ourselves in a third game in this best of three.
And we'll see how this ends up going, right? They are still trying to find something on the bottom side, but Niles... Oh, he doesn't know.
Now he knows. I was going to burn his flash there, actually, because Chad's on his way here. They're going to TP in Spyrax. Unstoppable Onslaught using Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It hits onto Chad.
Oh,
now
no.
They're going to turn on him.
No.
Oh, no. Get burned, baby, as he's going to heal a little bit. Spyrax flashes for the kill.
That's just insulting at this point, right? Chad takes the arrow from across the map and is going to cost his team a kill and a structure. You get to see, yes, there's a trade back coming from Toasty on the opposite side of the map, but as the Rift Herald gets dropped here in the mid lane, Maryville are starting up the Baron because Chad is dead?
I guess so. Why not? You've got Scary Jerry who's hit his item spike and he's looking real strong. Toasty, he wants to take him out though. Toasty is the big damage dealer, but again, he's just getting dragged in. Niles burning him to a crisp with the flame spitter, and now Maryville looking to close the jaws onto Fear.
And this is so aggressive. So much confidence still coming out from the side of Maryville. Zyko absolutely safe as Scary Jerry has the ultimate available, and that will be a 20-30 Baron coming out from the side of Maryville. This is a huge play coming through. The Rally Cry Baron buff will guarantee that they should be able to get at least 2 of these inner turrets.
And for Fear, you have to take in the mindset here. You've found yourself at a position like this before. Yes, we can see the gold, but you can just feel the presence and the pressure on the Rift. When things are falling like this, you've got to keep your head in the game.
Cincinnati Fear, right? They're just a little bit slower than everything that Maryville wants to do. They see Toast and you're like, yep, we're going to flash on that guy. And Yuji even shorts his flash, but he's still able to do it because of how aggressively Maryville are trying to make these plays work. And so we'll get to see exactly how cleanly they're able to close this one out. Remember, we did see Chad take away a couple of the objectives, but as the arrow goes wide, it is still going to be Maryville having to play this a little bit slower than they wind up wanting to.
Problem is, though, they always have their go buttons up, seemingly. One accelerated shock blast does about half health on Toasty. The range advantage is really starting to come into tow. Even if Scary Jerry feels really hard countered with the composition he's facing up against, his teammates are providing so much safety for him, and they are just constantly pushing this siege. Yuji gonna pop that Nature's Grasp. If you lose more members here, Fear, it might just be the end of the road, as they'll lose a tier 2 tower instead.
That's gonna be 2 kills effectively going over to Maryville as Toasty, getting out of that one. But now Maryville, they still have everything they really need. Niles is still pushing in the mid lane. These are the 2 structures we were talking talking about, and they still have plenty of time left with this Rally Cry Baron buff. They can reset, they can go to the Dragon, they can take away even more of Chad's jungle. And honestly, Maryville, with total vision control of this bottom side of the map, is just going to dare Cincinnati Fear to even try and contest them.
And this team, Maryville, the pride of Collegiate, it feels like here, as our only NACL Collegiate representative. They have been on point, and they're about to point that sword straight towards Lens. He's going to flash his way out of that one, but he immediately burns all of his tools, and Dragon is up. That's soul point for Maryville.
Good stuff from Maryville, right? This is the fishing that we were talking about. You got to throw out those ultimates as the Ashe. You do it over and over again, and hey, it's already a third of the way back up. You can do this almost every wave later on, and Maryville in total control of this game, Mazel. And I think this is a bit closer to how we were expecting most of the games to go. In fact, it's kind of how game one went in the first place. But Maryville with total control across the map. Now we got to look at the side of Fear. Is there any hero that can step up? We've been looking at Lenz's entire game, but it might have to be Chad on his Renaissance.
Chad has to do something. He's taken up a vocal leadership role on this team. He's been trying to teach a lot of the newer players with some of his veterancy. But he's going to have to pull them up by the bootstraps now and find the biggest moments of his split. 8,000 gold down on the brink of a soul over to Maryville. And if there's a time to step up, Fear, it's got to be now.
It's got to be coming off of a flank as well, but it's so hard to do it into Maryville. They have the Maokai with the saplings. They have so much vision control. They have the Umbral Glaive on Zyko as well. Not only do they have a ton of vision, they're preventing yours.
Oh, it was such a bait, though. They actually get down onto Philip there, so he doesn't hit the Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Toasty just as much.
Oh, that's a Seraph.
Get a decent amount of CC there, though. Oh my god, the poke is just doing so much here.
Wow, Maryville just slowly nickel and diming away the health bars here from Cincinnati Fear. And Philip can't even stand up. The red buff is doing so much work between Kalista and the Ashe, and now they're still looking. Yuji does not have the ultimate, but they are slowly chipping away at all these structures, and an 8,000 gold lead still appearing here for Maryville. I have been so impressed with this roster coming through. Again, I think there were not particularly high expectations based on the initial roster we were expecting, but as soon as we got to see what these guys actually had in store, Maryville have been rocking towards the top of the tables, and I feel as though they are nearly inevitable to have an opportunity to play up against Disguised.
I know Clerky has got to be so damn proud of this squad. They don't have a coach to speak of. Niles was telling us yesterday that, you know, they just try to dictate themselves in some ways, and they had to have a brass tacks conversation about their drafting style and how they're approaching these games, especially in the playoffs. And it looks like they found a recipe for success here. And now they just put the final touches onto the base of Fear.
Toasty still trying to find something. Not going to be able to... Oh, he does!
Ooh, they got him! That's a big old shutdown straight to Chad.
Yeah, Toasty making a big play, but there's not going to be a real repercussion here for Maryville. It's just the kill, and you like the kill, but it's just a kill. There's not an objective that Maryville have to give up because Spyrex actually goes down. They still have control of the waves. The top wave is pushing out. The bottom wave is under control by Niles, and that does mean that Fear, they still have to reset because in a minute, the Baron will respawn. In 2 minutes, the Infernal Dragon will respawn, and both of these are potentially game-ending threats for Maryville.
And this is such a tough position to be on. I think Fear themselves rely a lot on the veterancy that Chad and Philip bring to the table here for the roster, right? Toasty, Lens with a little bit more veterancy here in the NACL as a whole, but Toasty obviously coming in, Daption coming in as well. Obviously very well known in the collegiate space, but it is a situation where growth is important for this roster. Much like last split took an entire split for Maryville to even feel comfortable. It's a situation where Fear have shown a lot of leaps and bounds in their growth, even if they're on the brink of elimination now.
And they need to show the culmination of that growth right now as the Baron does spawn. And Maryville, if they get the sense that Chad is not around, if they get the sense that they can pick him off with an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, suddenly all of that growth will come to nothing at the end of this split. They will bow out earlier than they perhaps would like to, and Maryville taking control. We are already seeing that they are preventing any vision coming through from Cincinnati Fear. Uh-oh, Lens.
They might have actually gotten, he's way overextended now. He's going to use the Blade Caller, try to buy some time for him. He's actually going to flash beforehand here. He hasn't pulled the trigger on that. Does get a big feather as well, but doesn't matter in the end because Chad's already gone. That means Baron is in the eyes of Maryville.
Toasty.
Oh, Scary Jerry getting grabbed.
And that's the ultimate from Philip as well. It goes the wrong way. Cincinnati Fear, they don't have their jungler and they don't have their ultimates. How are they going to contest this Baron?
Maryville have put a chokehold on Fear so far, it feels like. This Baron will signal a move down towards bottom side. Dragon in 20 seconds as they circle a 10,000 gold lead. You wonder if there's a contest from Fear here. They're going to TP it.
If they give this one up, it's effectively conceding the game. They have to try and do something, but Maryville not going to be going for the dragon right away. They're going directly for the structures. This is how you pull the members of Cincinnati Fear back away. Make sure that they cannot do it because they're worried about losing the game. And Maryville, with total control of the entire map, are going to get this before Cincinnati Fear can even mount a defense.
Oh, wow. Those 5 grubs coming in clutch here now. They move in to take 2 inhib turrets. Meanwhile, Fear do take the dragon, delaying the soul. Maryville actually not back away. They want to take the fight. Oh no, they're caught backing. You got to be careful here though. Maryville, they want more. They want blood. They smell it in the waters. Spyrax has TP too, and Toasty's just going to get hammer-slammed while he gets shock blasted to the back. Philip has already fallen. Bot lane's the focus, and Maryville trudging forward.
A Hail Mary from Cincinnati Fear not going to pay off. They lose 2 members who are dead for 30 seconds. Still, this is Maryville's bid to end the game and continue on in playoffs.
We talked about the renaissance for Chad, but we got to talk about the renaissance for Collegiate. Across the table in Tier 2, Tier 3, we've seen a come up from this space, and Maryville are no slouches in that direction. They have 2 Nexus towers in their eyes and only a couple more bodies to put into bags. Adaption's gonna try to save the day. This is the last gasp effort. Fate's Call comes back in. Pillars start to fall for Fear, and Maryville, they're on the cusp. They're onto the final Nexus turrets here.
Maryville, they should be able to end. There's so much damage coming through. Dozy tries to split the fight.
Toasty's trying to put one aspiration into his pockets, but he can't do it. The aspirations have gone cold. Maryville, they cast down the Reaper. They take the fear out of our fearless playoffs, and the Saints will go marching on.
There we go. Maryville, the cleanest game comes at the very end from their players. They have total control of the bottom lane, and this was clearly a plan that they had in place for such a long time. And to finish off our broadcast, we're going to have an opportunity to talk with the victorious star of our last game, Scary Jerry.
Let's go ahead and bring in the kid, the gunslinger for the Saints, my man. How does it feel to have a Blade win, or at least a delayed win, but come out clutch over Lens in that specific matchup? What does it mean to you, man?
Means a lot. Feels really good to be top 4. You know, I wouldn't say I came in clutch over him. He played pretty well the whole series, and I need to be shot for some of the the positioning in game 2 where Orianna kept ulting me. But it's nice to get the win.
Nice. Now, I do gotta ask, earlier in the day, Clerky was posting a photo about you, saying you're having a bit of a rough day. Could you explain what has made this day so tough for you?
Yeah. Just we had a series this morning, and I didn't feel like I played that well in the second game of it, so yeah.
That's all right. I mean, you ended up playing this one pretty well. Except, we can forgive game 2 because of how dominant you were in that last one.
Thank you.
I gotta ask you, my man. Coming off of Converse and really making a splash on that team, and then coming over to Maryville, Clerky was very excited to grab you up. What has that journey been like for you? I know we've talked to you a lot this season, but especially in a moment where stress is so important and so pressure-filled, that you and Zyko seem to be able to just be stable, which is not a question that was answered correctly last year.
No, it feels really good, and it means a lot to just be playing well now with Zyko. Especially since I've been starting on this Maryville roster for over a year and a half. I feel like I owe it to the program to get some wins and to just play well, honestly, because historically Maryville has been one of the best collegiate programs, but recently we haven't been able to win a lot. So you know, it means a lot. It feels great to be winning. We're not done yet, you know.
Not done yet. We still got more, and with that in mind, you have an upcoming match against Disguise and then potentially Team Liquid if you keep on winning. But you guys are coming at this from an early drop into the lower bracket. Do you feel as though dropping down early is potentially an advantage because you're able to build more momentum?
I would say, yeah, it made us like lock in. We got less lazy because obviously we thought we were a really good team going into it. But when you lose to the 7th seed, like, there's no excuses at that point. You know, it's just do or die, and you got to lock in no matter how good you think you are. So I think getting knocked down definitely helped us a bit.
Well, guess what? Revenge is a dish best served cold, and you get to dish a little bit of revenge out potentially next time around. So you get to go against DSG. What are your thoughts going to that one? Do you have any spicy words to give to them?
I mean, I just think there's no way we lose a best of 5 at this point, and you know, I'm happy for DSG. You know, great organization. I'm glad they got their win, but that's it. You know, their road ends tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna give you a chance to give some shout outs here before we let you go, Scary.
No, just shout out Maryville, honestly, for letting me start, and shout out the team for carrying me and letting me win. So, yeah, that's all.
Give yourself some props there, King. Thank you so much for joining us here, and thank you for giving us a banger series to boot. We're going to say goodbye to you now. I'm sure we'll get to talk to you some more, but Joshi, what a way to finish off the day. I cannot believe that, you know, we had to wait a little while, but it ended up delivering tenfold.
I was not expecting that Cincinnati Fear was going to be able to strike back as effectively as they did, but I think what Scary Jerry was saying really puts it in context. Sometimes you need to lose some of these games in order to understand what mistakes you're making, what better teams could expose you for, and Maryville will come out of it stronger for it. As we said, we do have a lot of games left to play, right? Because we still have the Disguise and the Team Liquid matches still to go coming up over the next couple of days, and we are leading towards a live finals at the end of it, but we have our top 4 already at this point.
It's crazy that we've gotten to this point. Team Liquid making an upper bracket run, now have 1 life left, but before we get to that, it will be DSG versus Maryville tomorrow. So it's not any time to rest for Maryville, and it's going to be a tough test for them, but a DSG who are looking to bounce continuously in this lower bracket.
And we'll see how it goes. It is a very fast playoffs coming through. Remember that whoever wins tomorrow, I believe, has to play again the day after that.
Yep.
So it's just nonstop. Maryville playing day in, day out. Disguise will have to play over and over again. And all of that again. All of these teams coming together, they're spiking at the right time in order to be ready to play on April 1st, where we'll be having our live finals again at the LCS studio
Games
here
Arena.
in Santa Monica.
Yeah. And if you want to get a ticket there, they're $5.
$5.
Not too shabby. You
Not
can also
even a
sub
boba.
$5 to the channel, and those proceeds go to our teams. But $5 for a ticket to see these players live? Come on, you can't pass that one up. Make sure you go to @PathLCS, find out all your ticketing needs. Spend that $5. I promise you it'll be worth it.
We can't wait to see you coming out for that one. But for now, Mazzella, as we start getting ready to close it out, I have to say, I feel as though all of our teams have been performing exactly what they've been trying to do. I can't wait to see how Maryville and all of our other stored organizations will have an opportunity to play coming forward. We have more action coming to you tomorrow.
Got to give a shout out to Fear one last time. I think it was a team that didn't have a lot of expectations around them, and they were able to give Maryville a run for their money. Got to be proud of that. I know there's a lot of growth from the individual players this split as well. I really hope to see that continue into summer. But that is it from us. We're going to be ready to speak up. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I know it was a long day, but we'll be back tomorrow with more action, and we'll see you on Summoner's Rift.